As you begin to use appearances more and more in your work, you will find it necessary to copy appearances from one shape to another. For example, over here, I have this file called Copying Appearances. You'll find that in Chapter 8 of your exercise files. And maybe what I'd like to do is take the appearances that apply to these wetsuits that apply at the top of my file and also copy them to these wetsuits that apply here on the bottom. These all have just a regular white fill black stroke attributes applied to them. The easiest way to do this is to use the eyedropper tool inside of Illustrator. The way that it works is that I'll first go ahead and I'll select the shape that I want to have changed. I'll then use the eyedropper tool and I'll click on the shape where I want to copy the attributes from. So again, the first step is to select the shape that I want to have the change applied to, and then I use the eyedropper tool to click on the shape that I want to have the attributes copied from. So in this case now, a single click of the eyedropper tool copies the attributes from this shape into the shape that I currently have selected. And if we pay attention to some of the keyboard shortcuts that we've already learned, we could actually make this process a little bit more intuitive. With the eyedropper tool selected, I'll simply hold down the Command key or the Control key on Windows to access my selection tool. I can then select the next object right here, release the Command key, move to this shape, click once, and now copy the attributes from this shape to this particular shape. Now you'll notice that I have a fill and a stroke applied to the shape in the bottom as well. Let's go a step further here. I'm going to click on this shape right here, and I'll go ahead and I'll click here, and here's something interesting happened. Notice that the color did come through, but this particular shape had a drop shadow applied to it, but the drop shadow was not picked up by the eyedropper tool. Well, why did that happen? So remember that we discussed this concept of something called a basic appearance and a complex appearance. A basic appearance is the just single fill and single stroke that exists in an object, but no live effects or no additional fills and strokes. Here you have a particular object that has a complex appearance. This particular object here has a 3D effect and a drop shadow effect. This one had also a complex appearance, just a drop shadow. So likewise, if I were to go ahead and select this particular object and use the eyedropper tool, only the color comes through, but not the 3D effect or the drop shadow effect. The reason why this happens is because by default, the eyedropper tool only works with basic appearances. But we can change that. So I'm just going to press undo twice to go back to what I had here before. And let's travel over to the actual toolbar here and double click on the eyedropper tool. That brings up the eyedropper options dialog box, and you'll see that the eyedropper tool picks up by default transparency settings, focal fill and focal stroke settings. Again, those are the topmost fill and topmost stroke settings, and of course character style and paragraph styles. But you'll see that the actual appearance checkbox is not turned on by default. If I go ahead and I check appearance, in both these cases I want it to pick up and also apply appearances. Now if I go ahead and select this shape on the bottom and click on this shape with the eyedropper tool, it does correctly pick up the color and also the effect. Same thing also over here. If I go ahead and I click on this object, it now transfers not only the color, but also the 3D effect and the drop shadow. So I have complete control over what I do want to copy when I start working with objects. If I want just a basic appearance, I'll use the eyedropper tool with its default settings, but it's important to know that I can simply double click on the eyedropper tool and really control almost any of its appearance settings at all, what it picks up and what it applies, so that as I use it, I could very intuitively copy attributes from one object or one group or one other particular element inside of my illustration and apply it quickly to another.